Panels, let me start this off with an analogy here. If you had a special seedling, one with properties that differ from the usual, and you planted it in an average soil, the seedling would be limited and fail to grow into the maximum potential. Now take this scenario and put it into the context of the debate today, where the special seedling refers to the gifted and talented kids. The kids nowadays all vary in terms of capability, intelligence, and so on. And in opposition's world, where they use the traditional system of basing them on age, fails to actually cater to each kid's unique capabilities and prevents them from actually maximizing their potential through the education that they each respectively need. So proud to stand on side proposition. Moving on then, let me contextualize a few points that need to be clarified in this debate. What is the traditional education system? So the current education system that takes place in primary and middle school is that they would group children based on age. 12 years old goes to grade 6, while 6 years old go to grade 1, and so on. Now this actually brings up two major harms. Firstly, how it actually restricts certain children, tying them down and preventing them from reaching their full potential. And secondly, how talking about from the education's perspective itself and how it is inefficient and creates obstacles that could be avoided through education grouped by capability. So what would this look like then? Well, in our world, we picture the education system to be again grouped by ability, how intelligent one is, or how smart or well one is able to perform in class. Our stance on this debate is that we are in complete agreement with the motion and fully support it. So, two arguments that I'll be discussing in my speech. Firstly, on why this would actually be in line with the principle of education, and secondly then, on how we cater to students' need, allowing them to maximize their full potential. So, why is this in line with the principle of education? Well, panels, the sole principle of education is to actually maximize and bring kids to their full potential through the journey of education. Every kid varies from one another in terms of intelligence and capability. Just because you share the same age, it doesn't mean that your learning capability would be the same with others. There are students who find it incredibly easy and are at the top of the class, while there are students who are struggling to understand, leading them to the bottom ranking of the class. The skill gap between these students is evidently immense, and it serves as a barrier for teachers to help them. How so? Well, the ratio of students to teachers is very small. One teacher would have to manage over 20 students in one class, and when the skill gap is present, the teachers would be unable to actually cater towards the student. If she goes slower, then the intelligent kids would find it boring and lose concentration. But if she goes faster to accommodate these kids, then the less capable kids would struggle even more. There is no in-between in this case because, again, the skill gap between these kids are simply too immense. Now, in our role, we actually help to prevent this sort of problem because we split the kids into classes that are based according to their capability. This would then allow the teachers to actually follow the set pace based off their respective capabilities and thus be in line with the principle of education in a sense that they would then help to maximize each and everyone's unique maximum potential. Let's compare here to opposition's world. How on earth would they actually be able to achieve the principle of education when in an age-based grouping, there would be students who get bored and feel like it's too easy, nothing challenging, while on the other hand, there would be students who struggle to keep up and probably as a result get demotivated to study and give up. This all can be summarized in one phrase: education isn't one size fits all. Students with unique and different capabilities obviously need different forms of education. Opposition cannot just throw kids of the same age into one classroom, give them the correct education, and just hope all is good. They can't do that. Specific and specialized education is simply necessary if we want the kids to achieve their best. So, moving on to my second argument about how we are actually able to cater to the students' needs, allowing them to maximize their full potential. So, firstly, we allow a tailored learning experience designed to suit and accommodate each of their different learning capabilities. Children who are gifted or talented are not held back by their peers' pace in a competency-based system because they can move through the curriculum at a pace that suits their skills. Gifted students are less likely to become bored or disengaged than they might be in the traditional age-based classrooms because this would then allow schools to devote more resources such as advanced courses, specialized teachers, or enrichment programs when using a competency-based schools that would cater to their students, the gifted students' specific needs. This can thus more thoroughly explore their passions, interests, and skills with the assistance of focused support. Now, this actually works both sides, where if the lesser capable students are grouped together, then the teacher would be able to go at a slower pace without harming anyone. Because there wouldn't be students who feel like, oh, this is so bored. There wouldn't be those students because to them, that pace is exactly what they need to take in order for them to actually develop and grow. So, secondly, on how this system would potentially identify and nurture gifted or talented children more effectively. Because helping them, it would help them to reach their full potential earlier. Because again, this just shows how we are actually in line with the principle of education. If these gifted students are just put in a place where everything is too easy, then the peers are still below them, then he or she will never get somewhat comfortable. He or she will get comfortable and won't be able to push or challenge themselves to gain his true potential. So this is how, like in an example, there is a shark in a salmon tank. The salmon would survive, learning how to avoid and continually pushing itself to stay alive. As opposed if there was no shark, the salmon would become passive and not achieve its full potential. Competency-based grouping allows educators to identify and assess students' abilities more precisely at an earlier stage, which would lead to the early identification of gifted or talented students, ensuring that they receive the support and enrichment they actually need. So lastly then, how it prevents students from becoming bored or frustrated. Panels, you have to understand that advanced students frequently find themselves ahead of the curriculum in a traditional age-based classroom, which would then cause boredom and disengagement. They might engage in disruptive behavior or show little interest in studying because of it. So by putting students into competency-based groups, advanced learners can advance at a rate that is both challenging and still interesting to them. They can delve deeper into the topics that interest them or explore more complex topics, avoiding the stagnation frequently associated with age-based groupings. Now, this also helps to avoid frustration for the lesser capable students because on the other end of the spectrum, students who have trouble keeping up in age-based classes may feel frustrated, anxious, and their self-esteem would suffer. In our world, through the grouping of students into classes based off competency, students who struggle would get extra help, such as individualized tutoring, focused intervention, or modified curriculum to again suit their particular requirements. So all in all, education is not one size fits all. It requires specific and tailoring to actually be able to cater to each student's needs in order to allow them to fully maximize their potential. Thus, why I'm incredibly proud to propose.